distinguished government and other institutions leaders here present, our distinguished guests from abroad, senior leaders of RDF, members of the diplomatic corps, the commandant of the Senior Command and Staff College, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I start by expressing my pleasure to be here today to inaugurate the RDF Command and Staff College and to officially open the first ever Senior Command and Staff course in our country. Previously, this course was undertaken by our military outside of Rwanda. And I wish to acknowledge the support we have received in the past from defense forces of friendly countries in this regard. Let me also take this opportunity to thank those who participated in developing and accrediting this new course. I would particularly like to mention Fort Leavenworth College and the UK's Joint Services Command and Staff College, as well as colleges from our continent, which we have developed, with which we have developed very good working relationships. The establishment of the first RDF Senior Command and Staff course is a significant landmark in the development of our armed forces. It shows how far we have come in less than 2 decades in the pursuit of our vision to have a professional, highly effective, and constantly improving force our country needs and deserves. Throughout its history, the RDF never only invested primarily in numbers, armament, equipment, and technology. While armament, technology, and equipment have been important to the RDF, what has made a difference for us has been an emphasis on training that engenders personal and, more importantly, collective values of clarity of purpose, competence, integrity, a sense of identity and ethical conduct. These are the same values that have led the RDF's success and have earned them respect when or wherever they go on international peacekeeping and other missions. We believe that training should equip our officers and the RDF in general with the tools to respond appropriately to security challenges of our time, and even to anticipate problems of the future. As you know, this college is opening at a time of the context of a challenging regional situation. You are also aware that increasingly there are non-traditional security threats. The nature of these threats demands our armed forces to enhance and diversify defense capabilities and develop skills that can meet these and other challenges. But the college is also opening in the context of regional integration and increased cooperation. These provide opportunities and means through which we shall further strengthen our capacity to deal with current and future security threats. Distinguished audience, I wish to emphasize that at this level of training, the line between military strategic analysis and planning and that of political policy formulation becomes blurred. We also know that the non-traditional security threats I was referring to are not only entirely military in nature. They encompass socio-economic and political issues. Our forces will therefore be required to go beyond the military realm. And so the new course should be consistent with our country's strategy of seeking lasting solutions to the challenges we face. Ultimately, the Command and Staff College graduates should be prepared to become catalysts for the transformation of our society. To you, the first intake of this college, I say this: you bring to this course different experiences and you come from diverse backgrounds. you have been selected on the basis of your high standards of personal integrity and discipline. For those of you who have had opportunities to train abroad, this is your chance to marry lessons learned from outside with our own, so that you come up with appropriate and relevant solutions to emerging security threats and issues. You understand that training is fundamental to continuity. Some of you recall that during the liberation struggle, at times we trained and fought at the same time. In fact, fighting became part of the training as well. This was in acknowledgement of the intrinsic value of training in maintaining the efficiency and continuity of the force. Furthermore, the establishment of this college should be or should give RDF officers an opportunity to crystallize our own doctrine and ethos. The virtues that have enabled us to overcome all forms of adversity in the past ought to be preserved and promoted and built on through various means, including continued research. Today, more than ever, this college should encourage students to carry out research and document what has been achieved, so that ownership of what we do is really actualized. The fact that most students are players in their own history is a big advantage, and this opportunity should not be missed. Let me conclude by making again reference to some of the things I earlier mentioned. Building an institution like ours, like the RDF in this context I've been talking about, is no different from building other things, whether you're building a city or a country or there is something we want to ensure, and that is something about us, about Rwanda, something that must be seen as Rwandan, even if other things have been feeding into that. Even with our city of Kigali, much as we have been missing some of these things, and we keep encouraging people to do what needs to be done, the architecture, say, of our city, we want a modern city, We want many things. But at the same time, we want to see something Rwandan in that city. Something about us must not be lost. The country itself, as we modernize, as we transform, something about us must stay with us. That's Rwanda. So this college and what it stands for in forming and shaping our leaders of today and those of tomorrow, new ideas, knowledge that improve who we are, but also maintain something about us. There is who we are. We cannot be other people. We are who we are. Doesn't matter how it gets lost on some people, but we always repeat it. And there are no apologies about it. We are who we are. We will be who we are. We will learn from others. We will get support from others. We will be as good partners as you can have it, but we must stay who we are. There's something about us that cannot change. There's something that came out, that came up as we struggled to transform this, our nation of Rwanda, through the many struggles we have fought. It wasn't for nothing. It cannot be for nothing. This must always be borne in mind by those who are conducting this course and others, and also those who are attending it. Rwanda will continue to change positively through many things, through many ways. Even with the pressures we come under from all over the world. While this is always very challenging, I always want to see a silver lining around it. The pressures, even for bad reasons, that we come under, I think should harden our thinking. Should make us better fighters for our better future. And this should constantly shape our thinking and conduct and actions thereof. Every day we have reminders that we don't need. There are always reminders every month, every year, every 5 years. remind us, people knocking at our door, knocking on our door and reminding us that we are third world. So we don't need that. But when it comes, I think it should provoke positive energy in us to say that even if that is how people want to look at us, we want to be different. I alluded to some regional issues, both challenges but opportunities as well. Some of these regional challenges will be there for some time. In fact, they are not exclusively regional. They end up being international, and in fact fed into and even complicated further by how international actors feed into it. This situation you see we are having to deal with in our neighborhood, in the Congo. That keep coming in cycles, almost of 3-4 years. Looking at it superficially, as the intention of some has been, it is easy to spread the blame, but mostly put the blame on Rwanda's shoulders. This is very challenging, but it's okay as well, I think. Maybe Rwanda is needed. They need to work hard, work more hours by the day than anyone else to think about how they deal with issues. But this problem has not been caused by Rwanda, has not been abetted by Rwanda. On the contrary, in the last 3-4 years, nobody in this region, on this continent and beyond, has worked very hard to see peace come to our country and the peace to our neighboring country than Rwanda. But actually the problem came from outside. Both if you have to look at the long history of it or even the recent one. This recent history, this recent problem that you see here was created by the international community, our partners. And because they don't listen, they are so arrogant, they don't listen. In the end, they don't actually provide a solution. They just keep creating problems for us. They are so arrogant that they don't listen. We know better our problems. We know better these problems of the region. We are genuine about wanting to find a solution. But they'll come, run over everything, like other people don't matter. Then when things explode, well, they'll come around and blame you for it, even if they are the ones who caused the problem. From nowhere, when we have been dealing with all these problems for all these years, this country, Congo, DRC, had elections with all problems it had. We tried to play a very positive role with the government in the Congo. And after that, we were working together to deal with the security challenges that affect us, that have affected us for the last 18 years. We worked with them to contribute to the challenges they had in their own country, some of them. There are others we couldn't be helpful about. And then some people are not happy about that, I think. They come up with ideas of having people they want to arrest in the Congo for justice, for accountability, which is good. If only it wasn't selective. If you really want to hold people accountable, then you hold people accountable. And they came to us and were saying, you know what? We want to arrest some people in the Congo. We want you to be helpful to arrest people. We said, if you want to arrest people in the Congo, international community, you can't do anything. You don't need us. You want to arrest people? Go ahead and arrest them. Why do you even come to us? They said, no, we want you to help the government of DRC to arrest so and so. And he said, yeah, but how does that become our problem? Why don't you go and help them to arrest the people you want to arrest for ICC, this International Criminal Court, which has been so highly politicized that it has lost meaning. And we said, for whatever reason, you don't even need to explain to us. Go ahead and do whatever you want to do, but don't involve us. We don't want it. We don't want to be involved. We don't even understand what you are doing. They said, no, you must. Now, actually the pressure turned from the country where they wanted to arrest people, they turned to us. This was before this conflict, by the way. When I'm saying this, it's before this conflict. I'm only giving you the origin of it, how it doesn't even involve Rwanda. Even though at the end of it, you've seen all the accusations. I'm sure maybe by the end of the day, we are going to be accused of holding a meeting in Nyakinama, plotting to do something in the Congo. No, but fortunately we are with some of their representatives here, so I think they may be considerate because of this. And it kept going on and on and on. And we were saying, look, but you're messing up. Things are beginning to take shape in the Congo. We are working with the Congolese government. There are still problems. Instead of you joining hands with everybody and trying to help this situation, this whole approach of yours is going to create a mess. We warned them. We advised them, we appealed to them, they just couldn't listen. I think then they developed an idea that if we can't have you support this government and support us to arrest this, then we will put you together with those we want to arrest. That's really how it turned out to be. I'm not dramatizing anything here. I'm just telling you the real story. And then we even tried to be helpful. I was the first person, when we learned what was going on and how it was being messed up, I called the president of the Congo. I picked a phone and called him. I said, you know what? There is something coming up. I don't understand it. Are you aware of it? Are you behind it with these others here? Aren't you creating problems for yourself? And he said, no, you know, actually, no, for me, yes, they have come to me, they have told me this, but no, for me, my approach is different. I want to arrest this fellow for his indiscipline, but I'm not handing him over to ICC. This is a conversation. I'm just revealing some secrets to you. I said, oh, but I hope you are going to be able to contain this problem we are seeing on the ground. I told him the details of what we had from our intelligence. And he said, what do we do? I said, why don't we have our people meet and discuss this and find a good way of managing it? To which he agreed, and we had a meeting in Rubavu, this former Gisenyi place. These officials of ours had whole day, whole night discussing this issue. And in fact, agreeing with the officials in DRC about some of the problems they had to address in order to avoid all that. They were agreeing. They even called in representatives of these so-called rebels to be part of the meeting on request of government. The government of DRC is the one that requested that these people come, and these officers, one of them being this fellow who is leading this rebellion. They were in the meeting. They explained their grievances, and the government representatives of Congo were taking note and saying, yeah, we are aware of some of the things. Actually, they tried to say, as we go back, we will address them. That's what they said. When they left and went back, they just did the opposite. And we heard the fighting was going on, because they went ahead and wanted to arrest some people, people whom they had been discussing with, and the whole thing was spinning out of control. Again, I called this leader of Congo and talked to him. Now, when things continued getting out of, the only thing that came out was now UN, the whole world, every country that these powerful countries, then the Congo, Rwanda is helping the rebels. Helping them with what? And for what reason? They say, they become vague and say, supplies. Supplies of what? Guns? These fellows are picking guns from their own armories. The arms, the ammunition they have are their own. They are their countries. We are not supplying even one bullet. We have not. If we had, by the way, I would be here telling you that we did, because we would have done it for a reason. But we have not even had a reason to have this conflict going on. On the contrary, we tried to prevent it. And we advised both the Congolese government and this international community that never listens. We advised them But now, anyway, for the reason that they are able to put the mess they have caused on other people's shoulders, maybe that's why they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't listen like they never listened when the genocide took place here in Rwanda. In fact, this ICTR they put in place to try people over genocide should have tried some members of the international community instead. Because in the same way, they never listened. Even when they are seeing facts, even when they are seeing things happening, leading to what people are telling them it will lead to. They will just, because they know in the end they will blame it on somebody else anyway. They have the power to do that. They have the power to screw up and then blame it on somebody else. That's what goes on every year, every decade. They've screwed up in this case of Congo, and they bring it and put it on our shoulders. Well, you are aware, I think somebody alluded to it. Well, I was seeing some $200,000, some military aid withheld because RDF is helping, is associated with the rebels. Come on. This is not serious, honestly. And it's not the money. It's even just the name you are giving the RDF and this country that it does not deserve and has no basis. It's not this money. What is 200? It's nothing. But it's just even that responsibility. And then you have these organizations running around. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows what they do. Nobody knows where they are accountable. And they say, oh, some experts on the ground have said this. Jesus. If the world has these kinds of experts, you know, on whose account of their report people are going to be blamed and penalized and abused, and then please, this college needs, at least, if you cannot prevent that, you need to learn how to constantly challenge it. Because I want to finalize, to end on this note, because at the end of it, knowledge, that is very important. Knowledge is very important. Having knowledge is very important. But it is only meaningful if you are able to put it to good use. It's not enough to learn things. It's not enough to be knowledgeable if you're not going to use that for the transformation our institution needs, our people and the country need. So remember that this college and the knowledge that will be associated or that is associated with it will only be meaningful and important if the product is and becomes part and parcel of our transformation of the people of Rwanda. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for your informative and encouraging keynote address and strategic guidance. May I request you to